me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Evening, everybody. Hope all is good. 7 o'clock, nice and dark, not very warm out there. To tell the truth, I've just decided that I'll do a show this afternoon. Got a bit of catching up to do on a few things since I haven't been regular for a while. And you know what? I'm going to base it purely on who wants to come in and say something. If no one ends up wanting to come and say something, I'll be done in 20 minutes. If people want to come on and talk about the issues, got something to confront, got just some crap they want to let out about Spurs, an opinion on something, come in and do it. We all need to get this off our chest now and again. I mean, in that case, this is where some of us doing shows have an advantage. Why? Because we can come on, moan and groan about it, get it off the chest, have a rant, the whole lot. When you're in the chat, it's not so easy, is it? You get limited on what you put, and then sometimes it's very heavy, and very hard to put your point across in just a couple of little messages. That's how I always found it, till I started doing it. So the link is at the top of the screen. I'll also just put the link in there again for random, and I'll keep doing it for people. Anybody want to come on and just say your piece about Spurs, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, whether they say it's positive, negative, I couldn't really care less. Say what you want to say. Don't want no full-blown arguments with no one, whatever, but if I have a different opinion, obviously I'll give you a different opinion, but chances are I don't think there's many that are going to come in these days with a different opinion. So like I say, if no one comes on, I'll be done in 15, 20 minutes. If people want to come on, show can go on for a fair while. Oh, here we go. Say hello to a few people. And Tony, how we doing, mate? Big up Dan in the chat. Ange out. Yes, very much so, mate. I think most of us are all agreeing with that now. I mean, surely he's got to be on his last leg now. Surely my man has got to be on his last leg. If if things do not go right on that next game with AZ and we end up going out of there, if he don't get the sack, then God knows what a man has to do to get the sack. I mean, seriously, how far do we actually want to take this? And Matt K, big up to you, mate. I did notice you was on the back screen there. If you want to jump on and say your piece, do feel, mate. I don't know whether it kicked you off, whatever, and that. And oh, pardon me. And Jeff, big up Dan in the chat. Big up to you, mate. Also with Lisa, evening Dan and the chat. I hope you're all good. And big up to you. And Mark Show, big up Dan and chat. Big up to you. And another Mark as well. Evening Dan Geezer. Evening to you. El Tel Cockerell. How you doing, mate? Opal's good with you. Right, I've gone then. I'll bring on first guest. And like I say, anyone you want to jump on, just jump on. The more that want to come and say something, the longer the show will go. The least that want to come and say something, then the shorter the show will be. Matt, how we doing, mate?
I'm all right. How are you?
Same Spurs, different day. I think that's my saying, and everybody knows it by now. Same Spurs, different day. Don't really seem to be progressing. I mean, seriously, what? Come on, you've come on here to obviously want to let off some steam and say a couple of things. Go for it.
I don't know why Ange is still here. It's mad to me, like crazy. We've seen in the past Levy, they sack managers for small things at crazy times, before and after finals, at halftime. But then we've had a manager where we've lost 18 games this season, and the performances, the tactics are awful. And the fact that we still have this manager every single week in, week out, the exact same thing, and we see no changes. So the fact he's still here is absolutely mad to me. Yeah. But I mean, I say it every time. It all stems from the top still. Like, I don't believe Ange is to blame for all of this. I don't believe the players are to blame.
No.
ENIC brought the manager in. ENIC brought the players in. ENIC were the ones that decided to not invest in these big players. Okay. We don't buy top players. We don't pay top wages. It's the wages are like crazy. Our wages, they're so low. Doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so I'll go with you on so far. Like, yeah, Levy brought the man in. Fine, Levy give him his job. But then when you give someone a job, I know it's your choice, but you do employ him to do the job. And Ange ain't doing his job.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And it down to some of the players aren't really doing their job. But then that's when we come into the reasons for it. What are the reasons that they ain't doing their job properly? So I do agree with what you're saying to an extent. But for me, it's basically, okay, Levy's employed him. And the questions are, is it the club buying the players? Was it Ange buying the players? We can argue about that all day long. We can debate about that all day long. None of us will really know the facts. But Levy don't pick the tactics. Levy don't pick the style of play we play. I mean, it might have something to do with it on the type of manager he brings on, or how he wants them to play. But he don't pick the style of play. He don't pick the players on the pitch. He don't pick who he wants to keep on or who he wants to keep off. He don't pick the subs. He don't pick who takes the penalties, free kicks, etc. So who would you say is more to blame there then? I mean, surely that's a lot more down to the manager than it is down to Levy, isn't it?
Yeah, but we have seen that we've had ENIC for 25 years. We've won one trophy. We've fought for the league once, twice. Well, when Leicester won it, we fought and we came third. We've got to a few finals, but we've shown no passion. We've shown no ambition as a club that we're going to win anything. So for me, if we get a proper manager in, and yes, I totally agree with what you're saying about Ange, like he's completely clueless, but I would blame it more on Levy still, because we've seen it. We can get another manager in, but we're not going to be winning stuff because we don't have the ambition as a club yet. If we were putting down to percentages, I'd probably blame it half on Levy and a quarter on Ange and a quarter on the players. Because for me, the players are just as bad as Ange. The players are showing week in, week out. There's no passion. They're careless. They don't care for the club. They're not trying hard enough, and we see it, and everyone sees it. They just don't care. What we're seeing from them isn't good enough, and we know these players, they have good potential, but again, they're not the players we needed. They're very young. We got Bergvall, Gray, Vuskovic, 18, 17. The ages that we're buying is mad. The only senior players we've bought in the last 2 years have been Danso, Werner, Solanke. Anyone else?
I mean, you can't call Van de Ven a senior player, really, can you? Because he was coming pretty much from the youth side and he's only young himself. I mean, we know how Levy works by now. Well, most of us do, because some still seems to think he's here purely to do the best for the club and wants to win things. How they can even suggest that, I don't know. But again, each to their own on that one. But it goes back to what I said. Ange is the one who picks the style of everything that happens on that pitch. So for me, I just can't blame Levy for that. All right, I believe he is the problem, and it milks its way down, all the way down. We know that. The parasite is at the top. I mean, there's another phrase I usually use for it, but I won't use it with you on it. And it does start at the top. But for me, Ange is more to fault than Levy to the extent here of he's the one who picks everything. He's the one who also accepts what he got. I just still struggle to believe that a manager with any common sense can sit there and take Timo Werner on for the second time.
I understand that.
People do question, was that Levy signing him or was that Ange? With the capability Ange seems to have as a manager, it wouldn't surprise me if Ange was the one who said, yeah, bring him in again.
Firstly, we don't know who brought in Werner. It could be Lange, it could be Ange, and it could be Levy. Secondly, if we had a manager like Iraola or Eddie Howe and we were finishing fourth consistently every season, that doesn't make a single difference to me. I wouldn't care for finishing 15th or 4th every season if we weren't challenging, if we're not fighting. And that's what we've shown for the last 25 years. So honestly, I don't care. The manager, yes, he's clueless, but nothing's changing. And we keep saying it because I understand, because we see this manager, he's so annoying. He's so narcissistic. He's so clueless. He doesn't know how to adapt. And we see it every game because the tactics we're playing, I don't know, like we could manage better than him. We could control the team better than him. I'd rather Ryan Mason over him all day. That's in the playing side. That's performances. We'll get better performances out of a different manager. But winning, we're not going to be winning. Winning's done. We're not winning till the whole board's gone. We need everyone gone because we're not winning at the moment. And if people think we're going to win the Europa League, they're deluded. Because we're not going to win the Europa League. We're 1-0 down to Alkmaar. I personally think we're going to get absolutely battered on Thursday. I'm not going. It's the second game of the season I'm not going to at home because I just can't be bothered. And honestly, I think we're going to get absolutely battered.
On the AZ one, then, do you think we're really going to get battered then? I mean, for me, I'm 50-50 on it. I know we have got the capability on the team itself to beat AZ, but then I know we've also got more than capability on itself to go totally tits up, and we've got a home record of 1 win in 11 or 10 or 11, give or take, it's one or the other. And you can quite easily think, Matt, that you just ain't surprised if they go and do us at our own ground, or we end up getting a 1-1 draw or something and we go out. But surely there's more that. Surely you've got to have some sort of faith that we can do AZ at home. Surely.
Faith is different to hope. I have hope. But firstly, I don't think they know how to exploit us. They know what to do to get a result. They can put 10 men behind the ball and we don't know what to do. Secondly, we have no confidence going into this. We are a major confidence team. These players and this manager are very good in confidence. We saw that last season at the beginning. We won 10 games. We were doing very well. Whether that was luck, coincidence, we were doing well. Then we start to lose games. We consistently lose games. Then we have patches. We have patches that are good, patches that are bad. More bad. But it's in patches. And the fact that we're going in at home, it'll be deflated atmosphere, no confidence. These players, they have no confidence and they aren't going to go in well. And it's massive down to the lineup, I think. If we play someone like Sarr, Bentancur, Basuma in midfield, we're done. We need that creativity. I wish we had Kulusevski because this is the perfect game for him. I want to see in the midfield Gray, Bergvall, Madison. And I don't want to see Odobert. I don't want to see any more of Odobert. I had hope in Odobert. about 3 games ago, I was saying we need to give him time. He looks good. Because when he came on
Yeah, but
against
how much time has
Man-
it? Sorry, mate, let me stop you there a second, Matt. How
Yeah,
much
sure.
time has Odobert actually had? He hasn't had that much time. I mean,
Well,
come on,
he
he's played
came on
about
against
how many
United.
games for us has he actually played before he got injured? And then since he's come back from his injury, he's only played about 2 games and not even the full game as such. So isn't he one that? No, he's not someone I would have picked to bloody buy or whatever. But isn't he one of them ones that you just need to cut that little bit of slack for, because he hasn't exactly had any consistency of playing, let alone been able to show anything consistently.
Yeah, I get that, but when Stell was saying it when Moore came in, Mikey Moore against Alkmaar in the first in the group stage, he showed a lot. He was man of the match. Everyone saw his talent. When Odobert came on, he doesn't show that. He can't get past the player. He's shown to be explosive and pacey. He has none of that. When we're watching him play, he loses the ball way too often. Because we are getting the balls to him, and he's getting a lot more chances than other players, like to dribble, and he's just failing every time. He came on against United for 20 minutes, and I thought he was good. I was saying after the match, yeah, he looks good. Let's start him. 2 matches again, following 2 matches, he's been awful. I get what your point is, saying we need to give him time because the whole team has been awful in those 2 games. And I understand that. But if you're saying that for Odobert, everyone's saying Tell was really bad. Tell's had 5 games. He's played against Liverpool, Villa, United, City. They've been really hard games. And every single player, except maybe Spence, has been awful in every one of these games. So if you're saying about Odobert, give him more time, then why not give Tell more time?
Okay, I get where you're coming from there. I'll go to that in a second. Just want to say, Samuel, big up, brother. How we doing, mate? That's my little brother-in-law. And I totally see where you're coming across there on that one, yeah? Okay, if Odobert needs more time, so does Tell, yeah? I think the reason why I'll be less lenient on Tell as such is I don't even think we should have got him in the first place.
Yeah.
By the time
I don't think we should have got Odobert either.
possibly, by the time he does basically settle down or whatever, if he does, and starts getting the hang of things and the fact that he's in a different country and everything else, he'd be going back anyway. He weren't the sort of type of player we needed. But Odobert is actually someone we've bought, and he really hasn't played that many games for us at all. I mean, Archie Gray, he's seen a fair few games now, but we still ain't even seen him play in midfield. I think he got to go in midfield for about 10 or 15 minutes at the end of one game. And a few of those players would not have seen anything if it wasn't for the injuries, like Spence. We wouldn't be seeing nothing of Spence if Ange wouldn't have been basically running to that ground through pretty much his own fault, most of it, that he had no option but to pick him. I mean, Odobert is one I could cut that little bit of slack and want to see him 5 games consistently. Do I think there's much of a player there? I can't say I do. On the ball, I think you can see there is a player there, but I haven't seen him deliver a good pass or a good cross, anything like that. And in that aspect, just reminds me of the rest of the so-called wingers or inside forwards we got. I mean, out of any of them, who can actually cross a decent ball? I think the best crosser of our ball is Porro, and that's at the right wing back or right back, whatever you want to say he plays. That's there for God's sake. And he cuts into a number 10 position anyway, inverted, and hardly ever gets across the ball in properly.
Yeah, also, we're looking to sign Tyler Dibbling from Southampton, who's a 18-year-old, 19-year-old left winger, right winger. The amount of young wingers we have is mad. We don't need to sign more. We're looking at Dibbling. We've got Heung-Min Hyuk. We've got Johnson. We've got Tell, who looks like a winger to me. We got Odobert. And we just got so many, and we're not playing them. Also, what do you feel about Son? Is Son going to be here next season playing?
I mean, personally, Son's now got that record as far as I'm concerned of how he's been brilliant for us, excellent, and everyone's going to say it, but he's now got that mud on his back but we should have let him go 2 years ago, or at least a season ago. Do I think Son is totally done and dusted as a player completely? No. Do I think he's done pretty much as a 90-minute player, the Premier League? Yes, I do. I just don't think he's got the stamina in him anymore. I really don't. And I personally think we're still hang on to him for more the PC issues, I think, sort of thing. Yeah. I don't think we'll hang on to him for the right sort of issues. Same as I don't think he should be our captain, basically. So, right, what I'm going to do as well, keep you on, Matt. I'm going to let Corey on here, seeing as no one else has come on yet. Anyone else wants to come on who doesn't usually come on, I will say goodbye to the normal two and let you on to say your piece. So, come on. Longer this show wants to go on. A lot of people all seem to have a lot to say on the sides on a lot of different shows. So why do people struggle so much to actually just come on and speak your point? We're giving out offers here. Other teams do it. Other channels do it. So I'm doing it. Come on and say your piece. So I'm going to let Corey on here as well. And then if anyone out the random chat wants to come in, these two will come off and I will speak to you on a one-to-one basis. How are we doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, just recovering from not winning the championship last night at MVF. So done the proverbial Arsenal there. We bottled it, and I played like a complete sack of crap. So,
I mean, look, with what Matty's saying, yeah. I mean, we were just talking about Odobert. Do you think he should be cut that little bit more slack, where he has hardly played any games for us at all?
He's been injured most of the season, like
he's
everybody
had a big
else.
Injury.
So, I believe there's a player in there, but how long is it going to take to unlock him after a big injury like this? It's going to be. Was it an ACL, wasn't it, with Odobert?
I'm not exactly sure what his injury actually was.
If it's an ACL, I can vouch for that. Coming back from that injury alone is hell on earth. I never got to come back from it, so But back.
Well, there are certain injuries that can basically end your career, isn't it? I mean, and I think the injury that Benson Core had has definitely changed his career up.
It's also going to change the style of the player plays. It's not just before the injury. Benson Core was looking like the player that could be the one. He spent about 8 months out injured, something silly like that, and then an ACL, ECL tear, rupture, or break is potentially a game changer, career ender. I know I've walked that line. I've been down that line with the youth team that I was in. And I was told at nearly 18 years old, after 17 months on crutches and rehab, that I wouldn't be playing professional. So there's a lot of young kids out there as well that get these injuries and their dreams smashed to pieces. So nowadays, medical science has moved on in 25 years. If medical science was where it was at 25 years ago, some of these players would be having better luck with what this injury can bring.
No, I get what you mean.
Say, we saw Solomon. So we signed Solomon last season at the beginning. He was injured. Whether he was injured or not playing for political reasons, he wasn't playing all season. He played a few games. He played against Burnley away, 5-2. He played amazing that game. And he played maybe 2 or 3 other games for us ever. He was all right, but he's shown a lot more than Odobert and a few of the other wingers. Now we see Solomon. He's gone to Leeds. He's been balling out. He's been scoring and assisting most games. Why wouldn't we get him back rather than signing Odobert, Tyler Dibbling, Heung-Min Hyuk? I just don't understand it.
We haven't got Dibbling yet.
It does make sense what you're saying, but I think you said the right words totally on it. I personally think, especially we're going to have to be careful what we say here, but especially the type of club this is considered as, Solomon ain't going to be showing his face again here, and it is a political reason. And I think we just leave it at that one. For me, I think that one has definitely got the political side of it, because he didn't look that bad when he played for us at all, and he actually done a couple of things that we haven't seen our others do. But I just think Odobert, I don't think we're going to see much of him sort of thing as a player as such. I don't think he's going to get far, but I do think he's one that could be cut that little bit more slack. Just for the sheer fact.
Didn't Bayern Munich want
Didn't
Munich want Odobert before he came to us?
Rumour says it, yeah, but then rumours are everything at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, so with this game we've got coming up against AZ, what do you think our chances are, Corey?
Don't know. the way our season is, it's too hard to call. If it was a bit of a better season, I might say, yeah, it's a straight up win for us. But lack of leadership on the pitch, manager useless. I admittedly fell asleep at the match at the weekend at home. So like halfway through the first half, towards the second half, I nodded out and woke up just as we were starting to look like we're going to do something. Again, it's Tottenham. I'm not excited by this club anymore. When I was a kid growing up, younger adult life, I would live for Spurs at the weekend. Used to excite me back in the day. Now it's like I see, apart from Vicario, as in being a goalkeeper fan, no player out there on that pitch was really grabbing me at the moment until Spence came along and got his chance. Spence and Vicario seem to be doing it, and it's just crazy how there's 9 other players out there and you've got to try and pick your best out of a 25-man squad. And out of that 25-man squad, there's not much you can pick from, really, is there? We sold all our older players because they had a voice. I mean, Eric Dyer didn't say too much wrong along the lines of this coach or this manager doesn't train tactics or doesn't train or.
But a lot of people took that as in he was just having a dig, didn't they? And all of a sudden, after about another 6 months, it started actually making sense what he said, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get it wrong. I mean,
having a dig.
You can't fault the guy for speaking the truth. I mean, I've been saying it since day one with Ange. I didn't want him here. He doesn't, as a manager, he's not great. He's coming from easy leagues with crap tactics that work in these other leagues because he's been at the top club in those leagues. He's come to a Tottenham team that is supposed to be a big 6 club, and you're playing a high line week in, week out. One ball over the top of Porro or over Spence or a Doji, and that's it. We're done. That's all you need to do to beat Spurs. Put that ball over the top and have someone quick enough to run down that wing to cross it in for him.
I think
every week
we're overhyping our team and we're underestimating opposite teams.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think week in, week out, we're underestimating our opponents. Like, Corey, you might not have meant it, but the way you speak about Alkmaar, it's like it's an easy game. We should be winning that. We shouldn't. They know how to exploit us. They have good players.
Yeah,
Troy
exactly.
Parrott is a good player. Poku is a good player. They know exactly what to do, and they could easily come to our ground and beat us 3-0. Easily. I mean, we've seen Everton, they scored 3 against us. Brighton scored 4 against us. We're getting thrashed.
Home form is terrible this year again, isn't it? We can't even record in the league 10 home wins. I can't remember how many home wins we had at home in Europe this season.
I'd back us winning more against Liverpool than Alkmaar, honestly. But I'm going to go, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers for coming on, mate. Take care of yourself, mate, and speak to yourself.
See you later, little man.
Big up. Enjoy, everyone.
Big up, man. Yeah, it's just crazy how the season's going.
Rick C says here, I mean, I'll be with you in a second, Mark. I think we have to see a reaction. I think we will see a reaction on Thursday, and that we will just give the happy clappers more ambition to basically bad games. Don't want us to lose, but I'm fed up. Atmosphere was abysmal against Bournemouth. Look, when I went there for the Fulham game with my wife, it was absolutely dead. As doornails, basically, to put it as that. So I've just got to come on, and I keep putting the link on the side. Random people, come on and say your bit. There's so many people that always have something to say on the side. I'm putting the offer there for people. Come on, random people, come on.
It's always the same voices as well, Dan,
Come on, hang on a sec. Just come on and you can say your bit. I'll just have it say it'll be me and you, no one else, and you can say your piece. Anyway, Mark, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. It's nice to see you back.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
So where do you think this is going to go with the result coming up to AZ? I mean, that's the main one to talk about. I mean, there's a few other things we can always bring up here. And the main point I'm doing this is for if people want to come in and have got a specific point to make that hasn't been mentioned or whatever. And there usually is quite a few that do. But then when it comes to something like this, all of a sudden there's quite a few people who don't. I mean, so how do you think it's going to go with AZ?
So I think if they score first, I think we're done. I can't see, as I said, if they score first, we have had it, because that means we're going to have to get 2 goals back. With a low block, I just can't see how we can break teams down. We have, what was it, two fluky goals in the last 3 games, was it, Ben?
I'd say so. I mean, that one off Sarr, that has got to be one of the worst crosses I've seen. But it turned into a goal, so that bit's irrelevant. But it was one of the worst crosses that turned into one of the flukiest goals, sort of thing, wasn't it?
Of course it did. I mean, our front line is just awful. It's just pathetic at the moment. It's just horrible to watch. There's no fluidity. There's no, there's just nothing at the moment. I mean, I didn't watch the Bournemouth game. I was watching my son play football. Came back to watch it on catch up. I didn't realise within the first 3 minutes they had 3 like one-on-ones. We could have been 3 or 4-0 down within 7 minutes. It's just nobody plays like this in world football apart from us at the moment. It's crazy.
And what gets me in this, right?
Romero.
I was going to say that.
I mean, he nearly cost us what? 4 goals in the first 8, let's say 10 minutes.
I was going to say that, and then he has the audacity to come back up and pipe up for Argentina again when he hasn't played all season. And the last game he played terribly in the first 25, 30 minutes, especially in the first 20 seconds of the game. Back pass to Vicario. It's great that Vicario was, wired into that because, a back pass like that. Are you serious? No goalkeeper wants to be facing a back pass with, absolute no fizz to the pass coming back to you. Goalkeepers don't want to be dealing with that shit. You're supposed to be, I use the word world-class defender. You're this world-class defender, mate. Why are you not putting some zip on it, or at least trying to turn you, man? He had at least a good few seconds to turn and then pass the ball somewhere else. Instead, he just goes for the easy, I'm going to try and get it to my keeper kind of thing, where the guy's bearing down behind him at his back. Okay. I thought Romero was supposed to be press resistant. I thought it was supposed to be this be-all and end-all, the next coming of Levy, King,
so Corey,
and Campbell mixed as one.
To cut it short and straight, like I say, you're quite a regular who comes on here, yeah? So I'm going to bring someone else on in a moment, but just really want to know, where do you think it's going to go against AZ?
I hope we lose and I hope Ange gets sacked.
Yeah. Good.
Well, that's hope. That's hope. Where do you reckon it'll go? Not hope. Where do you reckon it'll go? Even if you don't want to win, where do you think it's going to go?
I reckon we'll lose 2-1 and we'll lose 3-1 on aggregate. I just don't see nothing but this tactics and these players. You bring in a manager that can potentially do something that actually understands how football works in a top league. You might actually see better from these players, instead of half-arsed playing. It's just, it's boring to watch. It really is.
I get where you're coming from, mate. Anyway, I'm going to bring you off so there's not too many people on here, and got a guest who wants to come on and say his piece. And Corey, take care of yourself, mate, and I'll catch you up later. See you later, mate. Take care. So, Rich, how you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
Always you're a regular on the chat.
Yeah, how you doing? You okay?
Same Spurs, different day.
It really is, yeah. I just came on really because I wanted to just make a couple of really quick points, if that's all right.
That's perfectly fine, mate. Come and say what you want.
Yeah, well, I was at the game on Sunday, and forget the atmosphere, which, I mean, it was hopeless. The atmosphere was terrible. And you could just see that it was full of people who'd given up and day trippers, mixture of the two, which is never good. But what I wanted to say is that I was watching Iriola mainly, almost perving over Iriola a bit.
He was focused on the game, wasn't he? He was focused. You could see it. He had plans. He was telling players things while they're on the pitch, not just standing there.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Literally what he was doing, and I could see it. He is literally almost measuring the distances between all of his players with his hands visually, and he was telling them if they were too far apart, too near each other, measuring them, sending them where they needed to go the whole time. He was perpetual motion. He didn't stop. Our manager stood there like a flaccid bunch, ball of lard, just watching it, mate. And it was just, you can see that at this level, you cannot have someone who just sits there like he does. You can't do it. You need to be constantly tweaking, constantly on them. And that was my only point really about the difference and the disparity between the two managers. That was just so evident.
if you could change anything, like keep the same players as it is, yeah, and keep the same formation, because I think most of us have agreed now that you can see what is the better formation for this team. I think a lot of people, I would say 80% agree with it now. We'd definitely be stronger with 3 at the back and actually use the wing backs as overlapping. And then the question is who we have in midfield and up front is different. But if we've got to stick with the set of players we got, which we have, and stick with this formation, out the tactics style, what would you change?
In terms of the formation or in terms of...
No. Formation's got to stay the same because Ange ain't going to change it. Yeah? And we've got the same players we've got either way. What tactics would you actually change on that pitch? Would you change anything with telling certain players to do different things to what they're doing, or different players in different sides, formation, whatever, but the formation stays the same?
Oh, well, if the formation stays the same, then you stitch me up here, mate, because I wouldn't keep the same formation because it's just...
Neither would I, but it's going to stay the same formation. So if Ange's going to improve it, but stick to his formation, which ain't going to change it, what sort of things do you think he could do on that pitch? Make the players do to actually change it, to change the style a bit, to actually get something out of the players we've got in the formation we actually use?
I don't think anyone else in the world uses the same formation, but plays that formation without a number 6, and does what he does with the both wing backs, full backs, whatever you want to call them, number 10s. Yeah, you've asked me an impossible one. Sorry, you've done me with that question.
Well, go on then, Mark. I'll ask you as well. It's got to be the same formation. Obviously, the players we got. What would you change in that style that he does that you think could make us better as such?
Well, I mean, I've been on many programs watching you, Dan, and I think you're spot on. I think stop inverting. I think stop inverting the fullbacks prevents so many goals and will help us overlapping past Son and past the other Johnson, whoever. So Porro could actually whip the ball in, or Dogi could go down the byline and get into the box. It'll help out Madison. It will help out the formation. The fluidity of the football would be so much better if we just stop inverting the fullbacks, mate.
I'm fully with you on that one. I mean, Rich, what do you think on that one? I mean, I personally think that if he just stopped using the inverted wing-back side, dropped us back 5 yards, I personally think that's 20-25% of the problem's actually solved.
Yeah, I do think you're right, but I do think that the midfield is a massive problem because I just look up and I look at it, and I don't think we've even got a midfield half the time. It's like
no stability.
There's no one in there, and because there's no one in midfield, it's almost like we don't have any pattern to our play. We don't hold on to the ball. It is literally kick and rush, and then we're so vulnerable on the counter, like with Porro. I mean, he just made one bad pass, which anyone can do. Don't get me wrong, he's been poor recently, Porro, but he's been overplayed. But
totally,
yeah. But there's just no continuity. Who can get their foot on the ball? Like a Jan Molby of days gone by.
I don't even think that was a bad pass by Porro, really. It wasn't a good one, but it wasn't a bad one. I mean, if you watch it again, it actually bounced about 6 foot off the first touch of Johnson. So the ball did get to Johnson. It just, his first control, it totally rebounded off of him. Did Porro kick it too hard for him, too soft for him? Either way, it actually came off of Johnson to then go into the open space for their man to run onto it. And Porro's got the blame for that quite a bit. And for me, yeah, you can put them both to it, but I think a lot of that was more down to Johnson's extremely poor ball control. I mean, I don't know how you see that. Would you blame Porro more for that overall, or Johnson, or would you say that's just they're both as bad as each other?
I've said if you've got a setup like we have, where it's sort of like on the cusp of disaster just because of one pass the whole time, that therein lies the problem, because the players know that they're only a nanosecond from disaster if they make one mistake. You've got no continuity. They know the distances between each other are all wrong. They know they're vulnerable. It's almost like they're still running for the manager or for the club. I don't think they stopped running. I don't think that the running stats have been that much of a drop off. But what you can see is in their body language, they just know it's it's only a second away from disaster, and their confidence looks like it's gone, which is understandable. And I think the younger players are playing for Ange or for the club, whatever you want to call it, just because they're young and they want to make a name for themselves. But the seasoned pros like your Madisons and your Sons, I mean, you look at them and they just look like, what the hell's going on here? And so I think that the trend we're seeing where the young players are giving their all is because of that fact that they are young. Whereas the older ones are, you can see there's that split in the camp, really. The older ones are just resigned to our fate of being rubbish and inconsistent.
Yeah, I can agree with most of what you said there. I mean, I'm going to bring this basically comment to you two to answer it, sort of thing, or give your opinion on it, should I say. I mean, Sophie Smith, big up to you. And she says, long-term success needs a long-term strategy, but fans demand instant success. Arteta took a few seasons. Pep and Jurgen walked into good clubs with good roasters and titles behind them. Stick with Ange. Now, go on. I'll leave that to you two to go for that. Go on, Mark. Your opinion on the comment that was just made.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry. Yes, sorry, I was
because his wife was talking to him.
on the message that's been put on the screen, what's your opinion to the message?
Let's have a look. We're going back to the Arteta things. I don't know how many times we have to go back to the Arteta thing. Long-term strategies and all this lot. We've heard it before. It just doesn't happen in modern football, and you just don't see it. I mean, there's no guarantee that in 5 years' time or 3 years' time that Ange will bring success. You can't wait 5 years, spend £600-700 million if you don't see that, and all we're seeing is that.
Basically, what you're saying is there's just been no progress. We've gone totally back.
The players haven't improved. The system hasn't improved. Nothing is done. The training, nothing has improved. Nothing at all. We're getting worse, a lot worse. And within next year's, if 3 or 4 of our better players go, the whole rebuild or whatever it is, the project starts again, Dan.
Well, I'll go to that one in a minute. I slightly disagree with what you said there, but I agree with most of it. Go on, Rich. What's your opinion on what's just been said there? I mean, should we be hanging on to him longer for the long time, for the system, for the project? Or is it just blatantly obvious that this man ain't going nowhere fast?
You know what I think? I wanted him out back end of 2023, let alone, after those first 10 games, it was very quickly apparent that we were on a very steep downward trajectory and very vulnerable, and that it was not sustainable in any way, shape or form, and that the confidence of everyone was getting damaged week by week, as well as their hamstrings. And I think there's absolutely no doubt that this manager was a vanity project by Levy, which has failed. I don't know what else to say other than that. I've without getting really personal about Ange, which I don't want to. I don't think he's particularly nice bloke. I don't like his interviews. I don't like how rude he is. I don't like how arrogant he is. I don't like how inconsistent he is. He lies. He goes back on himself. He forgets what he said. I could go on. For about another 20 minutes about this, if you want me to, and go through every single inconsistent thing he said.
Look, this is here to say what people say. If you've got 20 things to say about him, then bloody do it, mate.
Yeah, he's not a good image for the club, is he? He's not a good image for the club.
No, it's not a good image for the club. It's not a good look. Whereas, again, in stark contrast, you got someone on the sideline the other day, Iriola, who's humble, he's calm, he's precise, he's tactically flexible, he tweaks things throughout the game. He acknowledges his flaws. He knows he's only a young manager and he's hungry for success. Doesn't think he knows everything. He's ready to learn. He does video analysis clearly. He reminds me of a cross between Pochettino, and I don't say that lightly because I did love Pochettino for what he did for us, and a certain Unai Emery with the way that he gets his back line. You just can visibly see on the pitch how organised his players are. You can it's just clean lines, clean structures. And you give our young players a clean structure, you give them that that muscle memory of where their colleagues are, where the other players are in relation to them on that pitch, they're not going to have to be mentally exhausted by wondering where constantly pressing, or is he pressing, am I pressing? They'll know because they're going to have had it absolutely firmly embedded into their minds throughout training. Whereas we just literally do the same training week in, week out by the looks of it, where they all run in a line like a Sabutio pitch. They cross the ball in from the third player to the other wide player, and they kick it in the net. It's like, I mean, I just don't know how he's still there. Honest to God,
I don't think most of us do, and I pretty much agree with everything you've said here. Right, Sophie, you seem to have a very different opinion to others on here. I've put this link on here several times now, and I will keep doing it. Come on here and say your bit. I'll take the other two off if you want. I'll take the other two off if you want. Till then, they're more than welcome to stay. Come on and say your bit. I mean, people don't have to come on here and have a debate. If you're quite happy with two people being on here, I'll let them be on here with you. Or it'll just be me and whoever decides to come on. You seem to have a few solid points you want to make. So come on here and say it. Give us solid reasons why. I mean, I get what you're saying in the aspect of Emery was hounded out. Arsenal, but look how good he's doing now. Well, he's got Villa in the Champions League, but they're not exactly doing great in the league. But a couple of wins and they're right back up there again. Is it North London is an arrogance thing? Spurs have trouble attracting elite players. Yes, players because they sack good managers. Ange is a god. Okay, now I just take that as trolling, surely. Unless you come on here and tell me otherwise face to face, I'll take that blatantly as trolling. But the one point I will make with that, and I think you two can agree with me on this, I put it as like basically playing poker, game I love. But you can only bluff it so long, and then you've got to play with the cards you got. Isn't it, Rich? You got to play with the cards you got at the end of the day. If you're a good manager, you've got to adapt to what you got. If you have not got the players that can play your system, a good manager has to adapt to the players he's got until he can get the players in for his system. And he has had a lot of players coming.
He's had a lot of players in, and again, I don't think that he's ever competed in a league like a proper. Shoot me down in flames. I know it sounds terrible, doesn't it? But Japanese league, not a proper league. Australian unders, not a proper scenario. Scottish league, yeah. You saw what he did in Europe with Celtic.
It's ranked below America, for God's sake.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, you know, there are some clubs with great history in Scotland. Absolutely not doing them down. Got a lot of time for them. I love watching Gazza play for Rangers, and the Old Firm derbies are special. But this manager does not have he's not got anything for this level. He really doesn't.
I agree with you. I mean, personally, the Scottish League, I mean, no matter how degrading people keep telling me I am to it, I just give my honest opinion. I ain't going to say it any other way, whether people agree or not, each their own. But for me, it is basically a pub league. That is why it is ranked lower than the American League, for God's sake.
Dan,
and I think any one of us could go to Celtic and win that league.
What's Celtic done since Ange has gone?
They've been just as good.
It's made no difference at all. Amrin left Sporting Lisbon, they fell off a cliff.
You know, they're doing just as good there. I mean, Celtic, they're what? How many points clear is it now? When I last looked, something like 15, 18 points clear.
It makes no difference. People keep going back to the Alex Ferguson thing. Alex Ferguson was in charge of Aberdeen, not a Celtic or a Rangers. He took to the European Championship and won with Aberdeen, not Celtic or Rangers. Completely different people. So, you know, you can't compare. That's another thing these Ange people like to compare with. It's completely different.
But we all know anyone could go to Celtic and win that bloody league.
Oh, absolutely.
It's basically as plain Jane as simple as that. I mean, with Ange, he comes across like a confident fella. And, I mean, I've given my opinions on why I reckon there's issues, but I'll leave it at that because I know some people get touchy with things. I don't think he's quite as arrogant as he comes across because there's that thin borderline between arrogance and confidence. When someone seems too sure of themselves, or you think they're too sure of himself, or someone is confident, a lot of people will turn around and say, "Oh, he's arrogant." But then if other people come round and they don't seem confident, people will then also grill the person for that because he comes across like he's got no confidence. So, Rich, where is the line here? Is he arrogant? Is it just he's too confident? Is it an in-between? Or does he almost think that he's, when I say too big for the club or too big for the league, obviously I think he knows he ain't bigger than Spurs and he ain't bigger than the league. But he did pretty much walk into here, stroll into here as if this is how I'm going to do it and it's going to be done like easy as, basically.
Yeah, I think that I heard your show the other day, the show with, I think it was with Sava, and I'll be honest, I completely agree with the points you were making. I do think there is an element to he may well be on the spectrum. I think the tricky thing with Ange is that I don't think he knows he is. I don't think he's got the self-knowledge. I think that it's always worked for him before, or if it hasn't, he sort of always managed to get the next job, and then it has come good for him. And I think within that sort of swagger, I don't think he's sort of ever been told by anyone the sort of the things that he may need to hear for his own self-development and his own health. And I think potentially that's where the problem lies, that he actually does genuinely believe it, and he doesn't know that he's neurodiverse, and he thinks that the way he's communicating is the right way, and he thinks that he doesn't see any deficit in the way he's communicating. Like when he looks down and he doesn't make eye contact with the reporters, or he's rude or he's abrupt, he just sort of like gives the excuse that, oh, it's just the way I am, mate. I'm Australian, mate. I'm this, I'm that.
So
It's just the way I am. But I don't think it washes, and I don't think the English media are going to take that sort of treatment for any great length of time. I think they've already started to stab him in the back where they can.
Well, we all know the English media is about second most dirty compared to the American one in the world. And so if he actually, like we're both sort of saying, believes what he is actually saying and believes it can be done this way and is so set on the way for whatever the reason is, we'll leave it whatever the reason it is, no more on that, because I know some people are touchy about it.
Absolutely.
I just say it is, but some people are. But I do believe there is a reason to it, But if he is so set that he believes this, is he actually a liar then? Because you said earlier you think he's a liar, and he has come across like that in quite a few things because he seems to backstep on quite a few things he says. But if he genuinely has got it in his head that he believes this, whatever the system, whatever it is, whatever way he believes what he's saying, is he a liar then?
Yeah, I think he's definitely inconsistent and thinks he can outtalk anyone. But what he doesn't realise is that he's trying to, he's trying to sell someone like a lemon of a car when they're actually, a lot of these people are car specialists, so it doesn't really come across very well.
It's just in the way he comes across. It's like when it's all good, he's all happy. When it ain't so good, he's got the right ump. Now I get a manager should have the ump when things ain't performing properly, but it seems like there's no in between with him. He seems like he's chirpy or he's just moody at times. To me, he doesn't portray himself exactly angry a lot of the time. He just comes across moody, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the thing is, if what we're seeing on the pitch was an upward trajectory where, he's playing young players, we're playing some really good football, but we're just being a bit unlucky. We need to sort of like put that final layer of veneer on the top of what we're seeing, and that it's getting better and better, but we're just falling short, and you can see progress. He's got every right to be cocksure and say what he's saying, but when what you're seeing is an absolute pile of steaming turd on the pitch, And then he's got the audacity to say that the atmosphere in the stadium is shite after all the stuff he came out with the Man City game when the Gooners, were close to winning the league last year. It's just that he's alienating everyone apart from the people that obsessively love him. And I think they're few and far between now.
It's definitely going against him now. I think there was a lot of people Ange out, there was a lot of people Ange in, and there was a very high amount also, people say on the fence, don't they? Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that have now gone over to the Ange side. And I think on a majority of places you go for a vote, I think there'll be a higher majority of Ange out than there will Ange in now.
Yeah.
And if it don't go right against AZ, I think you are then going to see about 75% Ange out.
Yeah. I mean, the season ticket holder in the seat in front of me, he'll support any manager, but and there's no turning him. He's just like, well, as long as he's here, I'll support him. I do see what he's trying to do. I do think he could be really good with all the tools and with all the players he wants. And it's like, well, yeah, I have to disagree with him. It's I shudder when anyone supports him. I shudder when anyone supports what they're seeing on the pitch, off the pitch. I mean, we all know the buck stops higher than him, don't we? And there's talk today of Lang going at the end of the season. I saw an article that Lang.
Let's hope that that's true.
On the block.
Let's hope that that's true. Right, what I'm going to do, bring someone else onto the show. You're more than welcome to stay if you want, Rich. And then
I'll drop off, mate. I've had more than had my say. Thanks so much for having me on. I just wanted to say, I absolutely love your shows. Always love.
Thanks, mate. It's appreciated.
Your content and seeing you on other channels as well. And I really appreciate you having me on, mate.
No, thanks a lot. Much appreciated. And you're welcome anytime. Take care of yourself,
Thanks so much. Take care, mate.
See you later.
Bye.
All right, Eli, how are we doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Your name right. I can't remember how to pronounce your bloody name.
Look, it's Elijah, man, but it doesn't really matter.
That's it. I was close. Come on.
Close enough, man. It's not that deep. Not that deep, man.
I'm just terrible at pronouncing names. Same Spurs, different day. Just getting on with it, mate. I mean, everyone knows that's my saying on here these days, or has been since day one. Same Spurs, different day. Well, I mean, there's a few things we can go to here, but I'll ask you the same question that I've asked others. With this game coming up against AZ on how important it is this now make or break? Surely this has got to be make or break for Ange. Surely.
I mean, to be fair, the make or break should have been the Liverpool game, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, technically it's another opportunity for a make or break for Ange. I mean, at this point, it's clear the board's made a decision. They're not sacking him. They're going to keep him to the end of the season and then probably judge him next season. That's how it's really looking, because for some reason, the board wants to now flip-flop on the way it's dealt with this manager compared to other managers in the past. They don't make sense to me, but they're going to do what they want to do, and it is what it is. If we get knocked out, I mean, we already have our assessments of this manager. I feel like nothing's really going to change. Board are just going to be like, oh, well, he's going to be here to the end of the season. And then there's going to be more excuses made up in it. The manager tactically just ain't there, innit? It's one of them ones.
If we get knocked out and then they do keep him till the end of the season, I mean, I've heard a few people say that if we get knocked out of the cup, then we might as well keep him till the end of the season because the season's over anyway. And it's going to be very hard to pull in a good manager with 10 games left as such. Or how many games we got left now? It's got to be about 10, 12 games left.
About 10, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's going to be very hard to say, go and get someone like Uriola. Or there's been rumours going about that I've been reading that we're interested in Inzaghi from Inter Milan. What, you're telling me he's going to come from Inter Milan with 2 back-to-back trophies, like league wins, yeah? Because personally, I still think Inter Milan's my second team. And I still think Inter Milan are going to do Napoli this year. I think there's only about a point in it at the moment. But is Inzaghi really going to come over from Inter Milan to manage at Tottenham Hotspur, for God's sake?
Nah, there's no chance at that point. No chance. And I don't even know. I've never really been one to look at other managers from coming in because, to be fair, Tottenham depresses me so much to the point where watching them is hard enough. You know, we're going to watch other teams now is it's almost feels like working overtime. So I try not to, man. But I always say that I don't watch other teams enough to make assessments on other managers. All I can do is assess who's at Tottenham, manager or player or owner, anyone who works at Tottenham. It's our job as fans to assess them and see if they're good enough, innit? and there's a bunch of these players that don't fit it. The manager definitely doesn't fit it either. They're not good enough, so we gotta replace them. Whoever comes in next, if I feel like they're not cut out, we gotta replace them as well. Like, I'm not against sacking managers. Like, I feel like sometimes managers stay too long, and then the fan base develops some sort of like personal connection with them. It's almost like a parasocial relationship. Like, I don't care like that. These men are employed to play at the club. The manager's employed to do a job in it. If they're not good enough, they gotta get sacked and they have to be replaced. Like, I'm a huge proponent of that. I feel like so many people might have a connection with this manager. I won't say all Ange people, but there are definitely an audience out there that like Ange as the person, which is why they don't want to get him sacked rather than for footballing reasons. I can't get with that. The guy is employed. He's not here for free. He's being paid to be the manager here. And if you're not doing your job properly, you get sacked. So, hey, Ange ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. He ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. He has to be sacked.
It's not just football. It's life in itself, isn't it? It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's not all about being nice and everything. Sadly, I mean, you can help people, this and that. But at the end of the day, it's a dog-eat-dog world when it comes to a job, innit? If you ain't doing your job properly, you get the sack. It doesn't matter if he's a nice person or that's why you never employ a friend or whatever. But it doesn't matter if you're a nice person and you mean well and you're trying hard. If you ain't performing and ain't doing your job, whether it's football, whether it's selling things, whether it's buying things, no matter what it is, you get the kick, don't you? You're gone. Baked potato. See you later. So whether he's a nice man or not is irrelevant to me. Whether he's got this problem or that problem or whether he hasn't, again, it's irrelevant to me. It's dog eat dog. And he's not performing. He's not doing his job. And I think you'll totally agree with this, as anyone will. After those, I mean, he still got us to 5th place last season. And that is what a lot of people hang on to. Them first 10 games and 5th place. So getting us 5th place, in one aspect, you can say, okay, fair play. But for me, the reason we didn't get 4th place is because he was so stubborn and didn't adapt to any of his games until a bit later on when he actually changed it from man-to-man marking, from box marking as such to man-to-man marking, where we let in less goals. And a lot of people was already asking him after halfway through the season about his marking on dead ball situations. And he seems to change that in the last two or three games. But for me, that was too little too late. If he'd have been able to adapt earlier, we could have ended up in 4th place. I think so.
Yeah, I think the fact of us getting 5th, of course, the first 10 games had a lot to do with that. But I give credit to the manager for that. I give credit to the manager and the players for that 10 game. That means I got to be consistent. I got to look at the other 28 games as well. And the manager, the players, I mean, Andrew's always been stubborn. There's been articles going back to Scotland of times when he would say he'd rather continue with his style of play, even if the players get injured. Like if he has to put on a tier list, he's got his style of play and then the well-being of the players. Like that's how he ranks them. And there's been articles going back to Scotland. They were writing this in Scotland when he was at Celtic of this. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, so I can never expect any type of tactical adaptation from this manager. I should never expect it. I should never try and ask for it. I should never get online and beg for it because it's not going to happen. He's said this already. And I mean, to be fair, even watching the team, you know it's not going to happen like that. But just him saying it, him coming out and saying it, I can never understand. I'll never understand it personally, but I can never expect it. So I have to judge him based on how we're playing because we're never going to see anything different. All we can see is what we're seeing right now. And is it going to win us titles? Like, no, it's not. It's not going to win us titles. It's not going to win us trophies. We got to a semi-final. That's probably going to be the highlight of the season. Hopefully we go and beat AZ. The players are good enough, but like we see it in the first game, even though the players are better.
But would you be surprised if we didn't? What do you think we will beat AZ? I mean, we should be beating them. We should be. And
we should.
I know people say don't be complacent, don't underestimate whatever else, and I totally agree with that. I'm the first one to say don't ever be complacent because that's how you get yourself knocked out one way or another. Whether it's boxing, UFC, whether it's bloody any sport, you get complacent or too cocky sort of thing. That's when you end up knocked out.
Yeah,
but surely we should be doing them. But then our home record is what? 1 win in 10, 1 win in 11, something like that, give or take one. I can't remember what it is. It's 10 or 11.
I don't even know. I don't even look at that stuff anymore because it would just make the pain even more. But that's the thing. We should have beaten AZ away, like if you look at it on paper. But football's not played on paper, is it? when we step on the field, we looked awful. I mean, and that's really been a testament to the whole season. Like, how many teams have we lost to, apart from like the top 5 or top 6 or whatever people call it, where we look at their team, like, for example, when we lose to Crystal Palace, when we lose to Leicester, Ipswich, Everton, like teams like this, how many times are we going to look over and be like, yo, that man can walk into our team, you know? Realistically, it shouldn't really be happening. We shouldn't have those conversations. So that's why I always think of it as a tactics issue, because we really have like a top 8 kind of squad in the league. Like, realistically, we do.
I'd say top 6.
I that's fair enough as well. That's fair enough as well. I would say maybe Newcastle and Aston Villa at this point have a better squad than us. But top 6, top 8, we're around that in terms of just squad. Like, if you go on paper, man for man, we're up there. Like, we're top 8, top 6 in the league. Yet we're constantly in the bottom half. We were 16th at a point. I got to look at the tactics at that point. And I've never been one to analyze tactics too crazy because I just ain't got the ball knowledge. But if we're losing games consistently, I have to look at the tactics at that point and see why we're losing games. Because you can have flaws. Every system has flaws. It's just how you deal with those flaws. Like, there's no perfect system. Yet other people have systems that work and they can win trophies. So now I've got to look at this system. I see the flaws. If the flaws were happening and we were still winning, it wouldn't be an issue for me. But we're losing because of the flaws. And the manager's already said that he can't adapt, or he won't adapt. Not that he can't, he won't adapt.
It's the fact that he says, I refuse, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
really
he refuses
a few people off.
Pretty much. Like, I don't mind him starting every game with Ange Ball or whatever he wants to do is fine. I don't mind him starting that way. But if it's not happening, it's not working, he has to change it. And because he flat out refuses to, that's where I'm like, all right, cool. It's you can't win. You can't win that way. Because, I mean, people are slating Pep. Like, people, obviously Rodri went down and everyone's, City are not the same. It's because Pep was trying to play the same way. It's just that no one on the team could do what Rodri does. Like, he tried so many different midfield combinations. It's not until he switched and went more direct on the wings with Doku and Savio. Now he's trying something different. And they look a little bit better, but obviously Rodri being there will change things up. But you have to change things round. And the fact that he doesn't do it and he refuses to do it, I can't see us winning. So in my opinion, he has to go. It's that simple.
No, I totally agree with you. And then if Sophie's trolling, so be it. She's had her offers. I won't put another one on there, but the link is on there. Again, anyone, come on, say your bit. There's 67 on here at the minute. Come on and say your piece. Anyone's more than welcome. I mean, for me, you have to adapt to every game. Now, I'm not saying you've got to totally change your style as such, but for me, there's certain things you adapt to in certain games, whereas other games you can play exactly the same. The main example I use is when you're playing someone with an excellent winger, like Liverpool as such, and you got Salah coming at you, you double mark on him. You make sure he's got 2 men on him at all times when he comes down. Things like that. And I don't feel Ange does none of that in a game. I don't feel Ange specifically tells anybody, right, watch him, stay with him, keep an eye on him. I think he just expects everyone to just play his system as such. I don't think he adds anything else onto it. And you can see it when most teams players, they play a certain sort of way, totally suss it out if they haven't got it sussed already. And then a majority of the goals we concede are the same as last season. Now, we're not getting it over the middle so much, I don't think. But it's still on the same things, straight down the flanks, nobody there. Ball comes across, straight in the back of the net. I mean, it's like watching someone playing sweaty on FIFA, isn't it?
It's literally pro clubs football. That's what it is. To the wing, cross in, and it's a goal. It's one of those. You know what it is with Ange, right? I've heard Ange said, I've heard this on YouTube as well, that he basically wants younger players because he can mold them. But at the same time, we need midfielders that have a certain level of IQ to pass and rotate and do all these things. A lot of the times, especially against AZ, the centre backs will get on the ball, and there's no one to pass to. The midfielders are just standing around. The attackers are just standing around. No one's rotating. The whole point of Ange's tactics is pass and move, rotate, be ready for the pass, be ready for the ball. We're not doing that at all. And it takes a certain level of IQ, especially if you want to bring in a lot of young players. But the problem is that trying to find that level of IQ in a young player is like generational. It's like once in a blue moon does that come out. So what we need is experience. And on top of Levy not wanting to put the money down on experience that we actually need, I just don't think anyone that's on that level is going to want to come to Tottenham anyway. So really, we're just in a if the thing that we need in order to make this work is unobtainable, we don't just keep doing the same way. You got to switch it up, which is, again, sorry to sound like a broken record, but then tactically, what we want or what we need is unobtainable for us because of the manager, because of the owner, because of the style of play. But because we don't switch it up in any way, again, this is the problem. This is stuff that happens. So now we're just looking at almost like a broken, repeated cycle. It's like it's just circular football. Like nothing else gets accomplished, nothing else gets done, and we're just going to keep on this cycle, innit? Something has to change. Like whether you do an overhaul of the squad, if they're going to back the manager, or you get rid of the manager, but something has to happen because this whole cycle is just useless. We're going to keep seeing the same stuff.
We can blatantly see it's just not going to change, isn't it? You're right, Alex. How you doing, mate?
Big up everybody. Big up everybody. Big up Elijah, Bob. Yeah, I want to see more videos from you, by the way, Bob. Yeah, because you're the star. Bob, yeah,
I got one in a couple of days, man. Don't worry.
Yeah. I need to see some more videos from you. Big up, Dan every single time, Bob. Yeah. By the way, that's credit to you, Bob. Take it for what you will. By the way, yeah, that's some nice credit for you. Take that, Bob. Yeah. Listen, everybody knows that Mr. Box Office has been taking a holiday. You know what I mean? Like taking some time off. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I want to repeat myself. Then I was listening to people who are Ange fans. Yeah, one show that you were on yesterday, Elijah. Yeah, yeah, and I heard him. Yeah. Oh my gosh, some of the waffle I heard from that guy. Oh my gosh, and excuses. Yeah. Then I listened to another one. Oh my gosh, these Am fans they can't stop, can they? They cannot stop. Like, I've not said nothing. I've kept quiet. Dan, you can vouch me for it, yeah? I've said nothing. I've kept well quiet, yeah? But all I've seen is Am fans doubling down. When the stats, even last season, are bad, yeah? 1.3, I think it was. Yeah, 1.3 per game last season from 6th of November from the Chelsea game, yeah, to 10th of March. And then they keep on saying we had injuries. Yeah, let's look at the record of how many times we played with Romero and Van der Ven and we lost and we won.
Just as many, basically. Exactly.
Yeah. And then someone says, we've got injuries, we've got Richarlison injured. Don't give me a break, bro. Give me a break. That below average Emerald Heskey. You tell me it's an injury. You count him as an injury. You don't count as an injury. After what I saw against Liverpool, him being a joke. And then it's just some of them waffles and, oh, we don't want to look at the long term. Long term what? I've seen the short term. People know what I'm saying. And then say, well, you know, he's got a plan. Bro, we saw the plan. It don't work. You see him change it because someone's told him, or the players have done it. Yeah. Right. And he goes back to Ange Ball. And I know he's done back to Ange Ball. And I know it's not him because he's gone back to Ange Ball. He's had eight. What was it? How long did he have after Man United? Did the same thing. Gone back to Ange Ball. Can't train, I was told. So, I mean, some of the excuses I see from these Tottenham fans. And then the kids bench one, that's the perfect one. Yeah? Right? Oh, yeah, Ange can't win with that one, can he? Yeah? Oh, he's injured after the conference game, wasn't he? Bro, no disrespect, bro. Yeah? He doesn't do your stupid tactics. Yeah? There's a reason why he don't invert that much. The only reason why he's inverting is because you're telling him to do it, bro. Yeah, that's why Pedro Porro gets so much blame. Because that first goal was carbon copy what we don't like. Him inverting, and look, that's what happens. It's a joke. Yeah, and trust me, yeah, the energy's back. Yes, I've been benching. The energy's back. So Mr. Box Office is back. Yeah, back in town, back on YouTube, bro. Because the energy's back now. Because I need to talk some truth to these people. Chatty waffle. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Yes, he might not go at the end of the season. Yes. But I'm sorry, I can't do this revisionism anymore, man. I'm sorry. Dan, I'm back now, bro. I'm not doing this. I can't do this. These Ange fans anymore. They're talking too much, bro. Talking too much.
Right.
Way too
Okay.
much, Dan.
Right. So we go to the AZ game then, yeah? Who have we got to start? Surely we got to start Madison and Spence. Surely. Or do you think he's going to go with
Bro,
Odobert and Porro?
bro, did you hear what people are saying about Madison? Did you hear what people are saying about Madison?
Man, hey,
Elijah, you saw it as well, but you saw what people are saying about Madison.
I was on the stream, bro. I was there. Oh my gosh,
Are you telling me, Dad, you need to catch up, Bob, man. You need to see some of these things. Look, what people are saying about Madison, bro.
The craziness I'm hearing.
They're saying he's an idiot. Oh, he doesn't work hard. He doesn't do this. He doesn't. Yeah, fair enough. He doesn't work hard. Yes, he doesn't. Yeah, but maybe put him where he needs to be sometimes. You know what I mean?
They expect
because he's our best creative player. What happened? Look what happened against Bournemouth. Who's created most of the chances, bro? Madison. Who's our most creative player? Factually, by the way, because facts don't do feelings. Yeah, let's start doing facts, because facts, we don't do feelings anymore. We do facts. Who's the best creator? Madison. Cool.
We don't even play Madison to his advantages, do we? I mean, this is what a few of us say and what others don't see. Is he a lazy player? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
He's a bit of a lazy player, but I don't know many attacking playmakers that haven't been slightly lazy on the pitch. It's usually the ones like that get the ball and do something with it and then let everyone else do their job. And I mean, attacking playmaker, there hasn't been many that are that enthusiastic all over the pitch as such. I mean, and the way we play him, he's so boxed up all the time. Where's my man meant to pass the ball? You need to give a playmaker space. You need to give him options. You need to give him things to do with the ball. When he gets the ball, you need someone out wide, someone cutting in. You need the striker going forward if he can do a long ball over. Or you need one of the other centre mids coming up the side of you to pass it that way and forward. There's so many ways you can do it. Yet when he's got two or three directly behind him, two either side of him, which have inverted, and then the man up front, Solanke, has come back and not run forward, where is Madison meant to pass the ball? What is he actually meant to do? Forget Madison, what can a playmaker do up there in that situation when the option of passes he's got, yeah, it might be 6, but they're all within six foot of him. What's my man meant to do?
It's the only thing I hate about like our fan base slandering Madison. It's just the inconsistency is like I'm convinced the fans just don't like Madison, so they're just biased against him, and it's something I've just always been seeing, because we all agree, right? Like most people, except for people I guess who are thoroughly Angean, but most people will agree that the manager doesn't adapt. His tactics don't suit Madison. They agree that our attack is not great in terms of we don't have players in the box. Our defense is weak. Our coverage is weak. They'll agree about all these things that are wrong with the tactics, but then they expect Madison, who's not suited to the tactics at all, to not only overcome the tactics but also play at 100%. These things just don't make sense. Like any rational person's mind shouldn't expect Madison to drop out of the 10, pick up the ball with the centre backs, and then help create in the midfield, and then have to go and score the goal as well, because our strikers are always dropping deep. For as long as Tell has been up front, he's been more invisible than Brennan Johnson, and we expect who to score goals? Who do we expect? When we had played against AZ before, the only person who even went into the box with the ball was Madison, but he's supposed to pick up the ball at the centre backs. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I was hearing on the stream. He's supposed to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. But if no other player played well, how is Madison supposed to play well when everyone else plays badly? Like I like Madison, but he's not Ronaldo and Messi to where where everyone else can have a bad game and they can just say, yo, give me the ball, I'm gonna just score real quick. He's not that level, but no one is on that level on this team. And we haven't had anyone like that since Harry Kane.
With what you're saying there, it's almost sounding like, the way you've put it, it's almost sounding like people expect him to do a Harry Kane.
Pretty much. They expect that because part of it is that he's English, part of it is that he has a level of confidence in himself, part of it is he's showboaty on the pitch, and it's a mixture of all that stuff. And then the fan base already don't like him because for some reason they use the manager's tactics to slate him, even though they know the manager's tactics aren't good enough to win, which in itself makes
people
no
forget
sense
the
to me.
residualism, Elijah. Yeah, Ange is the one that persuaded him to come to Tottenham. He wanted him. Yeah,
That too.
this is the thing. This is the thing that I don't like. This revisionism. These people saying that he wasn't backed. He's the one that backed the process already. Right? You just need to listen to Les Ferdinand. Les Ferdinand, who's the director of football, he said it himself. When you come to Tottenham, you accept the conditions working at Tottenham. You accept it. It's simple as that. So none of this. Oh well, he wasn't bad. You know what I mean? And people are like saying, "Oh, Kulu's better than him." No disrespect, but Kulu is no Madison,
Two
bro.
different players, two different
Two
styles of
different
play,
players,
yeah.
but he ain't. I don't rate him. You know what I feel about Madison? He's a good player. Good player.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. Not a great player. Not
Yeah.
that the way that our fan base make him out to be.
With what we are Spurs TV saying here, Madison goes ghost in our big games versus low block teams. Do you know what? I'll agree with that to an extent. And one thing I
So
do
does the
not
whole
like
team,
about
though.
Madison,
That's-
exactly. But
Yeah.
one thing I don't like about Madison, but I can't just pick on him for it, because if I'm picking on him for it, then I have to drill Son double as hard, is the fact that the minute we're losing, well, not necessarily the minute we're losing, but when it looks like just totally the game ain't going our way, he does act like a bit of a crybaby for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
you got a point there, Dan.
He does act like a bit of a crybaby and might as well walk along dragging his knuckles on the bloody floor. And Son, I blame him even more on it because he is meant to be our captain. Now, people say, you're just picking on Son. No. Son is the captain. He should be going up to Madison and saying, get your act together, and saying it to the rest of the team. But Son goes about on the pitch just looking as sorry for himself as everybody else.
But Dan, we've been saying this for a year though, bro. We've been saying this for a year though, bro. We said as soon as Son was captain, we said we didn't like it. We've
no
been saying this
on the pitch or off the pitch.
Yeah, we've been saying it though ever since everyone was talking about. But Dan, we've got the receipts already, bro. We've got the receipts already because we've been saying it's to save people hearing what we're saying again. We've been saying this since he started. We said, why was Son in captain? He's no captain. I see more from Vicario, and now people are saying Vicario shouts more at all the players.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What did we say at the beginning? You were on stream with me, yeah, last year, and I said, what did I say to you? I said Vicario looks more of a captain than most of those players. Now people are saying the same thing we're saying. Ironically, now people are now saying we want Højbjerg back. When people were saying that we were a joke, saying it. They're all saying it now.
One of the first ones I'd have got rid of. I believe he was a player to go, but he wasn't in my. I basically put it in boxes of 1, 2, 3, sort of like 3 in that box, 3 in that box, 4 in that box, whatever. There was 3 that had to go, and then the next box, yes, they got to go, and then the third box for me, it was sort of like they weren't a necessity to go, and for me, Højbjerg was one that was not a necessity, and yeah, Lo Celso for me was definitely one that had to go, but we didn't really get anyone to take their place or back them up, or we did, Mr. Archie Gray, who can't come love nor money, get a place in bloody midfield.
He's not a midfielder, isn't he? He's not a midfielder. He's not a midfielder. He hasn't played in. The fact is, again, we go to facts. Let's do facts now, not feelings. Facts. This guy hasn't played in midfield for a long time now. I think for about a year or 2 years or something like that.
He done it for about half a season at Leeds, and then half the season he basically, 3/4 of the season he played.
He's naturally a midfielder for sure.
He played in the centre mid.
Yeah, he's naturally a midfielder, 100%. But that's why the scouting is horrible at this club, but he was bought to play right back because the club as a whole, not let alone the manager, the club didn't expect Jed to rise the way he has and become the best fullback because he couldn't sniff the first team, like really. So I feel like he was bought to replace Emerson because we didn't sell any midfielders, and anything we got Bergvall. So the amount of midfielders actually went up when we bought Archie Gray. So I feel like he was just a backup right back because they saw him play right back for half a season. So I blame the scouts for that. But maybe with Basuma has to go. With the rise of Jed Spence now, he can play right back and left back. Maybe Archie does get a role in that midfield, maybe next season, depending on who we sell. But the owners aren't going to buy anyone unless they raise the money through transfers. So I see Basuma's probably going to go. Bentancur might go as well. They're going to raise maybe 50 million or so and then spend that money on someone of that caliber, because that's what this club's always done. So we're going to wait and see what they spend the money on in the summer.
Only time will tell on that one, wouldn't it? Daytrix, how we doing, fella?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
All
Same
good, man. Big
Spurs,
up, my
different
bro.
day.
Yeah, if you hear me coughing, I'm a bit sick, so sorry if
All good,
Oh
man.
my god. Well, at least we won't catch nothing down the mic.
True.
So,
So
I'm
go on,
watching
we've got-
No, sorry, I'm just watching on the side PSG Liverpool. What a good game. Unlike Spurs.
Wow.
Well, Inter are winning 1-0, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
at the
Inter
moment.
2.
Oh, is it 2 now? Or is it they're winning?
No,
1-0?
I'm saying Inter 2. They're my favorite,
Oh,
my second
right.
favorite team. Yeah.
So with everything that's going on at the moment, I mean, we were
Yeah.
saying about Madison and that.
Mhm.
Do you think Madison is getting too much stick? I mean, because we got to play him and Spence surely against AZ, but I think a few people are saying that Madison's getting stick he deserves, whereas others are saying he's getting too much stick. I mean, not yeah.
You know what? That's a tough question because I feel I'm in the belief that if you're a vice captain or you're part of the captaincy
He is
group,
vice captain. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
so technically you need to like everyone's gonna look at you. Everyone's gonna ask you like to lead the group. Everyone's expecting you to be consistent every week in, week out. So this is why I've given him a lot of stick this year. Sure, for me, he's such a good player that every time I see him, I'm like, why are you playing this way? Because the way he was playing at Leicester, it was another level. Honestly, he was top. But when I see him at Spurs, it's like he's too comfortable. He only cares about the paycheck and the lifestyle. I've never seen him once not being in a Burberry or Louis Vuitton fashion show. He's pissing me off. No, honestly, he is. But when I see him on the pitch crying and just complaining non-stop, I can't defend you. This is why I've given him stick, him, Son, and Romero the most this year.
Yeah, I can
hear
sort
it,
of
yeah.
understand that to an extent because I didn't
I can hear
take in the aspect of he is actually a vice captain, but he is actually our most assists and joint top scorer as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is, but it's like, do you remember last year when we used to say Son was a purple patch player? He would goals for like 7 games and then score in 3 games like a hat trick back to back to back. That's
Yeah,
the same thing
that's
with
how I've
Madison.
always. That's how
I'd
I've
rather
always
s-
believed Son is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather see Madison week in, week out, just get 1 assist or 1 goal. Just be consistent. I don't want to see you for for like a whole month of the calendar year ghost. And how much he's making? Like close to 200k a week. You have to be better than that.
But if one game where we do see him play well is where he's not surrounded by his players so much, and for whatever reason the wing backs aren't as inverting as much, I don't think that's down to Ange anymore. I think that's down to how certain teams make us play. And then he's got the space to play how he plays. Surely that tells you something.
Yes, that might have an effect, but look at Kane. In any system, any circumstances, he's gonna be there at his best. Do you remember with England, he used to drop deep and he had like 5 players around him?
One thing I will say though, Detrix, is Kane at the Euros was catching a lot of stick, and that wasn't because of Kane's inability as a footballer, but it was a lot because of Southgate's tactics and the way we kind of played, way England kind of played. I don't want to say we, but the way England played, Kane wasn't really scoring, he wasn't shining as much, he wasn't playing at his level, and people were saying bench him because players were coming on, like Cole Palmer was barely playing, Ollie Watkins was barely playing, and when they come on, they score. So people were saying bench Kane, and that's not down to Harry Kane himself, it's down to the tactics surrounding him. And of course, Madison ain't that level of player. I'm not trying to say that at all. But I don't believe anyone's on that kind of level on this team of a Harry Kane, which is why I feel like the comparison is not disingenuous because I don't want to accuse you of anything, but I just think it's apples and oranges because no one on this team is on that kind of level to where they're not world class. Madison's not world class. Like he's good, he's very good, but
we have not got one world class player, not at all.
We don't, which is why I like to, because I'm all right with Madison being sold. Like I'm gonna still be here. We're all still gonna be here. We're all Tottenham fans. If Madison goes, oh well, let's move on. It's just the inconsistencies that certain fans will have. So like Kulusevski before he got injured, he was stinking it up for a month and a half. But you won't hear anyone ever criticize him because of his play at the start. Even
No.
though he's doing all these things, and that's really where my thing with Madison is. It's more so the inconsistencies. Like, you'll never hear people really criticize Bergvall that much. You'll never hear
see-
people criticize Archie that much. It's like certain players are just liked by the fan
Elijah,
base.
what you're saying is 100% right, but you know what I was trying to say with the comparison with Kane? Sir, you made a great point. Like, he wasn't at his best at the Euros, but you know one thing he has. When you give him a chance, he's gonna make it count. When I'm seeing Madison, we all seen him at Leicester scoring like outside the box. I've never seen him score outside the box for Spurs. Like, that's not a reason
he's
for
done it.
like players around you. I'm just saying, like, those
He's done it
little
once
things
or
that piss.
twice.
It's just those little things that piss me off with him.
I
It's
hear
just
it.
like
I hear what
his
you're saying.
basics, he's not doing well. Sure, he's been like around like submerged with like every player around him, but like it doesn't, like, you can still pass well, you can still shoot well, you can still like get a nice free kick. Look at the free kick they did, him and Son. It's unacceptable.
I hear it. And you're right about that, Detrus. I don't want to say you're wrong at all.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is, I mean, this isn't only Madison's only free kick. He did score against Villa. So he does score free kicks. And, of course, his long shots, you're absolutely right. He doesn't really take many. I think it's a thing of the way teams defend against us for the most part, especially if they low block. Like, teams will either high press us completely because we struggle to play out the back, or they'll just low block it. You don't really see many mid blocks against us a lot of the time. A lot of the teams that mid block us probably outweigh us in terms of talent. So I think Man City sometimes mid block it, but teams like AZ, for example, they press a lot. Like, we saw them, they pressed us, and then there's times where they just sat back as well if we ever evaded the press. There are times where James Madison will get on the ball, and you got to remember, we don't have anyone in the box. Solanke sometimes drops deep, especially when Sarr plays. Sarr's in the box more than Solanke or Tell or any striker we have up there. Whenever Sarr's on the pitch, he's in the box. Like, we saw that against Bournemouth before he scored that goal. He was the one in the box, and we saw his shot. It went closer to the corner flag. Against Man City, Sarr, it was up there for the final seconds of the game. He had a header. Against Wolves, it's the same thing. Sometimes the players, it's just they want to have this free roam thing, and it's the tactics. I'm sorry to keep bringing up the tactics to everyone in the chat and everyone on the panel.
It's tactics. Right, quick one. I'm just going to bring someone else on with us, and you two more than welcome to stay. I presume it is an Arsenal supporter, Arteta and Cronco. I mean, I would say hello and welcome, but then there's other things I could say. But no, hello and welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, mate?
For about the sixth time, same Spurs, different day.
Same thing with my club then. Same shit, different day.
God, I wouldn't say we're quite in the same predicament. So come on then. You wanted to come on here and say something. Go for it.
I've never seen your club in this bad of a state. I don't even laugh now. I just chuckle. Because nothing's going to change until you get these owners out. The same with my club. Nothing's going to change.
Your owners though seem like they're more up for winning than ours, without a doubt.
They only care about top four.
But they seem like they're more willing than ours. When they're willing to put the money down and go and get someone like Declan Rice.
Mm-hmm.
And the best we can do off is a Brenda Johnson, for God's sake, or something like that. I'm sure, you know. I mean, one man looks like he should be playing football, and one man looks like he should be working for fucking Disney. And
that nickname DJs gave him was amazing.
But either way, surely it shows that I don't think you got the right manager to take you over the line. I think he's definitely improved, and I will rate him over Ange because he has adapted season after season. There has been progress from him, but I don't think he's quite the one to take you over that line. But he's definitely fucking better than Ange, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a drop down, by the way, guys. Thanks for the opportunity, Dan.
All right, then, mate.
That's everyone.
Take care.
Take care.
In a bit.
You're right. He's not the guy for us. You're 100% right. He's not the guy for us. We need better.
Yeah, to take you over that final line, basically, I think is what you need. Because it must be frustrating from your side in the aspect of sort of like second, like City just override you, and then the season that City's playing crap.
Yeah.
by their standards, Liverpool go and overtake it and go, and basically they've done it pretty much.
Yeah,
If
it's
Liverpool don't
done.
go and win this league, that'd be the next best screw up since you screwed it up, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I want something. I just want a trophy. I want that big trophy. I want that big trophy because we need that big trophy. That's all I care about.
I mean, don't we all? But we haven't had a trophy at Spurs for God knows how long. Even when you were playing at your, I mean, I'll give credit where it's due at the end of the day. Whether I like the team, despise the team, or player, whatever, and that there's a lot of players out there I do like, a lot of players I don't like, teams, whatever. But one thing you can't take away from your side is that even when you was at your absolute worst, you still got a trophy here and there, which is
When we have players like
significantly better than what we've done. Even when we had our, let's say, elite team by our standards, we couldn't even pull that off then. And you're right on what you're saying. For me, it's mainly 90% of it down to the owners. I think the fans do have a big part in this as well, where we just accept what's going on, basically, where majority of fans do just accept the crap that gets pumped in the club. And really, where else can we take it? I mean, at least you've got owners that seem like they're willing to spend the money for you to win something. I mean, what would you rather be in, your situation or ours with owners?
100% my situation. But it's bloody frustrating. It is so frustrating because I thought this was possibly our year. Because City have been shit. I just want us.
What, you mean you've been
so frustrating.
Do you know what I can get on your side? What's frustrating? I mean, what's actually more frustrating? Being nowhere near or being so near yet so far?
The last bit you just said. Because we were 1 point away from winning the league last year. If we didn't lose to Aston Villa, the league was ours. Let's be honest. And then the year before that, our squad depth. And then yet again, our squad depth this year. It's been shit. Recruitment.
No, I totally get what you're saying, but the money you've spent on players and the majority of players you've been willing to bring in and the wages you spend dominates what we do. So we are in the situation because our managers are tight bastards and don't give a shit about football and just want money. Managers, owners, your owners are in there because they want the money, but it does look like they are willing to, they have put the money down to win things. I mean, how much money have you had put on you? I mean, you can't say Arteta they ain't put the money in. Sure they have.
They put the money in, yeah.
700 million, 650,
close to 800.
Right. So if they've gone and put 800 million into you,
yeah,
what are you not happy with? To me, if anything, that just shows the manager can't finish off his job. I don't think that's the owners.
It's a combination of both. It's a combination of both.
Surely not. No, I disagree on this.
It's a combination of both.
800 million they put into you, stuck with a manager as well, basically, who has got it close, but they've stuck by the manager and put 800 million into him.
But
surely that shows they want to win something.
It does, yeah. But from where we were to where we are now is like levels, because we were in the biggest shit we've ever been in, and where he's taken us, I'm glad, but I want to go over the line.
Right.
And if you look at the if you look at the 800 million, a lot of those players are not that good. No offense. For example, this Lukonga, Nuno Tavares, even Gabriel Jesus is not good enough. Zinchenko, like they spend a lot of money on not good players. The same way you give we give crap to Levy and Ange. Levy gave to Ange almost 400 million in 2 seasons. And our owners are not even, they don't care about winning. Their owners, they don't care about winning, they only care about making top 4.
That's exactly the same as ours. That's all we care about.
Because if really care about winning, they would have sacked Arteta after the 5th year. If they really cared.
At the end of this year, go on, Dietrich, sorry, finish it.
Because I'm saying, just spending 100 million on Declan Rice, like Partey, release clause on Partey for 60 mil. Like that's not enough. They've been screaming for number 9 for years and years and years, and they still haven't spent the money.
We need more than
Now,
number 9 now. We need
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than
you
number
need a
9.
you
I
need
can
a
see where you're
squad.
coming from. That
Yeah.
side, I can see where you're coming from. But to an extent, he has produced, but he just hasn't took you over that line.
Mhm.
And then
That's
on
the
the other
problem.
side, and then on the other side of it, though, they have put in money to players,
Mhm.
and some very good players at that, and some not as good. But at least you go back and say, some would say, a throwback from City. We go and nick off players like Odobert off little clubs that have just been relegated.
Yeah.
So again, I can understand how frustrating it must be for you, but he's took you up to at least the second or third best club in the country, back to where
I don't
you
want
have
that though. I
been
want
for
to be the
past 20
best.
years.
I want to be the best.
Right.
I
So
want
is
to
that
be the
your
best.
manager or is that your owners? Because if the
It's a
manager can take
combination
you
of
to
both.
second place and miss it out on 2 seasons, I think it's more of a mentality from your players and from your manager, because there aren't really many players in your team that have actually won anything.
I mean, when we thought bringing in Jesus and Zinchenko would help build that mentality. That's why we bought them, to bring that winning mentality to the club.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
mean, I didn't think Jesus would do much, to tell the truth. I didn't really rate him as a good player anyway. He was just there for certain jobs at City.
I mean, he always wanted to play number 9, so that's why I think we brought him, because we thought he was going to be that number 9. Like for the first, 6 months before the World Cup, he was unreal, unreal, the way he played. Honestly,
I've never rated him highly as a player personally, but I suppose, like I said, it's better having a City throwback than it is the one we've just picked out of someone who's just been relegated as such. The thing I want at Tottenham is obviously, like quite a few, but it's a very split thing, is we want these owners out through and through. They are not interested in any means or manner of winning anything. At least your owners look like they're more than happy to win something, but they're willing to put money in to win something.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, for me, they wouldn't have gone and bought players like Declan Rice and whatever. And I know, Declan Rice won something at his last season at West Ham, but you're willing to buy players that can take you to the next step, which Declan Rice has done, in my opinion. He took you another step further. At Tottenham, we don't do that. We don't do that shit.
I disagree with you, Dan, because if they really care about winning, I don't think Declan Rice should be the bare minimum. If Arsenal wants to take it to the if they want to take it to the next level, they need to buy players like I'm just saying like Harry Kane, like those levels.
Oh, I get that.
The striker I want is Isak. The striker I want is Isak.
Or Isak.
I want Isak.
When they bought Declan Rice, he took you up to the next level. No, he didn't take you to a winner, but he took you up a level. I'm not saying he took you to the top, but again, he took you up a level. He's a player that made you better.
But
Solanke is not a player that has made us better.
But Dan, that's the problem. Did Declan Rice actually make them better? I don't think so. Because is he better than Thomas Partey? No.
I think they're on the same level. They're on the same level.
Yeah, they're the same level. Or you can say same level. I think Partey is better.
But I think Partey is better than Rice.
Yeah, he's a better player.
Not by much, but I think Partey's better than Rice.
But if you want to win against City and Liverpool, you have to get better than that. And I don't think
that's why we're bringing in that with Mendy as well, because Partey's leaving in the summer.
Yeah, but my argument is, when do Spurs actually buy a player that takes us up a level, where it takes us from the level, that takes us up a level in quality? Declan Rice took you up a level in quality of what you have in your team, first team starter, and made your team, first 11, better. I'm not saying it made you winners, but it made you better. When do Spurs actually go out and buy significant players that can take us up a stage and make us significantly better?
But that's the thing.
Well, a lot of your fans said that buying Brennan Johnson was going to take you up a level.
Yeah, but that
It's
just
not
shows
Brennan
how
Johnson,
dickhead.
I
That
guess.
just shows how dickhead a few people.
It's light skinned
And I
Beetlejuice.
say it
That's his
straight
name.
as anyone who even thought that Dave Johnson was going to take us another level,
Yeah.
mate, go and go wherever you need to go. But seriously, Brennan Johnson, you can probably tell by the way I reacted there. I do not rate him in the
Every time you
slightest.
see, every time you say his name, I get mad. Stop
Yeah,
Do
saying
you
that.
think he's the worst player in the league?
No,
No, but I
no, it
just
has to.
don't.
It's
One
Richarlison.
of them? You think? I think he's one of the worst wingers in the league. I don't think he's the worst, but I think he's one of the worst.
For me, it's
Winger
Richarlison.
wise, yeah. Winger
Yeah.
wise, he can't take his man on. He can't run with the ball. He can't hold the ball. He can't cross it. He can't pass it. But he does get in little good poach positions to put it in the back of the net. And I suppose at the end of the day, he scored 9 goals, and as long as it's in the back of the net, who gives a flying fuck? But
Do you
as
know
an
who
actual
Johnson
player,
reminds
I
me
think
of?
he's horrendous. But Richarlison is worse than
I think
Johnson.
Richarlison's the worst player in the league.
Oh yeah.
Do you know who
definitely up there.
Johnson reminds me of? He's a beat up Theo Walcott.
No, that's a nice thing. No, he's worse.
Walcott. Wait, what? You saying Johnson's better than Walcott?
No, I said that's nice. Walcott was levels above
Oh,
Johnson.
I was just wondering him for a second.
I mean,
No,
look,
no.
if we was to compare teams at the moment, yeah, and I'm going to finish up in 5 minutes, but if we was to compare teams, look, anyone who's just looking on at this without a biased mind is going to be able to sit there and accept that there isn't really going to be many Spurs players in this first 11. I mean, I've had this debate with a few people that seem to think Romero is better than Saliba.
Not
No,
a
I
chance
don't.
in hell. Not a chance.
Romero on his day is a very, very good defender. But so is Saliba. For me, Saliba is not world class. Not a chance.
He's close to being world class. He's close to.
But I think
No, he's not.
I think he's got more chance of getting to that world class standard. But people will say that Romero has actually done a lot more than Saliba. He's won World Cups and he's won 2 what are the trophies called?
Copa America.
Yeah. You know?
But I don't get it. Just because he's won 2 Copa Americas and a World Cup, he's supposed to be world class.
Well, he's been. I'm not saying
He's accomplished more. I can
But
say
I don't get it. I don't get it though. That's nationality.
Okay.
That's not club.
Okay, but he's still done it. He's still a player that will go on his record. Whereas Harry Kane at the moment on his record has won jack shit. Yet he's one of the best strikers there's been for a long time. But Saliba can't even get in the French team at the majority of the time, can he?
Now he is. Yeah, he's the first choice centre back.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he's their first choice centre back. It's only because they.
I'd say he is. Yeah, he's better than Upamecano. He's better than Konate.
He's not better than Pavard.
He's a right back though. Can play centre back.
Yeah, he plays centre back at Inter.
Yeah.
Most of the times. I mean, the way I look on the 2 clubs in that, I mean, with the 2 players,
it's 1-1. Inter Feyenoord.
Great.
No, is it?
But
yeah,
I think Saliba is more of a complete player as well with who he plays alongside.
Yeah,
I'd
I
like
think
to see how good
Gabriel's
would have been if you
another
put-
level.
I actually think Gabriel is better than Saliba. Again, I don't
Yeah,
think
for the past 2 seasons, yeah, he has been.
Because I think people label world class too easy, and we had a bit of this debate on Savage 24 hours.
Oh, I know. Don't bring it up, please, thanks. I know what's coming.
I'm more, again, where I'm older than some people, younger than others, and that I've seen world class players play. And for me, these days, Saliba and Romero would not even get classed. They would get classed as a good player if we go back 20 years. There's no way they'd be called very good or not a chance in hell against world class. Yeah, I mean, for me, world class, one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my life, in my opinion, was Lilian Thuram.
Oh yeah.
And I know you can name also Paolo Maldini, Nesta, things like that. Yeah,
Puyol was the best.
Even Sol Campbell.
Yeah, I won't deny that. And Ledley King also was double the player.
Tony Adams.
I think. Yeah, you can go through a list of them, but Romero has actually achieved more. You can blatantly say that. If you was to put 2 paperwork together, Romero has achieved more in his career. And when Romero's got the right team around him, the right players around him, he takes it up a level. And he does it for Argentina all the time, but he don't do it for us. And this is why I won't call him a world-class player. give me the choice out of Saliba and Romero, I take Saliba all day because he's got the better mentality. When it comes to what they're capable of, I think they're two very different types of defender.
Dan, I know you want to.
Saliba's a lot more calm than Romero as well. Like he's not a bozo as much as Romero.
Actually, I'll just say, I know you have to end it quickly. For me, if you take Saliba and Spurs and you put Romero will take it another level. I think he will be better. And if you take Saliba at Spurs, he will be horrendous. He would. And you cannot. I don't think we can compare Romero and Saliba because they're two different players. I see Saliba as like a Varane, and when I see Romero, he's like Sergio Ramos, like same aggression, same everything, same style.
I can go with what you're saying. You're not saying as good as Ramos, but you could, like when I relate to a player, you can say you could say Romero is a poor man's Ramos, basically.
Exactly. And Saliba is a poor man's Varane.
Do you know what? I think that's a fair statement. I think if you actually put them two together, I think you'd have a very dangerous back.
Exactly.
I think they would actually be very, very good together. But the only other thing I say about Arsenal here, and this is the joke I have with them, is Arsenal are a bigger club than Spurs. I won't deny that. Arsenal have won more
100%.
Right.
No recent.
But Arsenal haven't won anything.
We are though. We still are.
Oh yeah, you are. I don't deny that. If you go by what you've won, of course you have. But you haven't won anything we've had.
No, I'm saying recently they haven't.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we're still bigger than you, Dietrich. Recently, even so.
That's not what I'm saying, and that's not the point. Hang on, that's not the point I'm going to get to here. Yeah, Arsenal haven't actually won anything that Spurs haven't. They've just won more of it. And as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal still have to sit on the same table as Spurs. Why? You might have won more than what we've won, but you ain't a big boy. I don't consider Arsenal a massive one of the big boys, like a Juventus, an Inter Milan, an AC Milan, a Liverpool, a Man City, a Dortmund, a Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Man U. Why? Because the thing that holds Arsenal back for me is you have not won that Champions League. And you had 24 years straight in it and only reached one final.
Yeah.
And that is where, for me, Arsenal still have to eat fucking humble pie. Even Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa. And that is where, for me, they still have to eat humble pie to an extent and will never, ever be considered one of them top ones like the names I mentioned until you go and do that. I mean, you actually have a worse European record than we do, for God's sake.
I know. Surprisingly.
You know, and that is the mad thing, and you can't even argue by just good there. But if you go by the amount you've won, you outdo us all day of the week. But you haven't won anything we haven't.
And we've won 2 European trophies, they haven't.
Yeah.
I know Europa League is... We won 3.
Yep, we won the cup before it turned into the UEFA Cup, basically.
Yeah,
it was
so
like
3.
Calling it the League Cup, and we've won.
They've won nothing.
They've won a Cup Winners' Cup.
We have, yeah.
Okay,
we won in 92.
I don't
at least we won
the UEFA, have you?
No, it wasn't part of the UEFA, no.
And I think that is your biggest holdback on why you just can't get considered.
That's why I don't... They're a bigger
sort of
club.
thing.
They're a bigger club than us, but I don't think they're
much bigger.
That big, no.
We are much bigger than you, DJs. We are much bigger than you.
No, I'll just say... No, in order to be bigger than... For example, I don't think we're bigger than Forest. Because they won the Champions League twice. You see the difference?
I get on what you're saying. Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah? If we go by the amount that teams have won, then Arsenal sit up there as third best in the country.
Yes.
If you add it up, Nottingham Forest have won everything that Arsenal
Villa's bigger than them.
We've won it. Villa have won everything. They can sit on the... They're not a bigger club. But if you go by what they've won, they can sit on the big boy tables with Juventus, Inter Milan, AC, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Man U. Exactly. That's why, when it comes down to it, until you win that that Champions League, you won't be on there. But then everything else you've done...
We were that close away from winning it in 2006. We were that close from winning it.
No, it's
and you
so
can
funny.
say that we were as well. You can say Spurs were as well. They got a penalty that should not have been a penalty. We can argue the same points.
Yeah. And
that was not a penalty.
And if Levy wasn't involved in the Champions League, Lucas Moura would have started and it might have been a different game.
No, I totally agree with that one.
No, I'm not saying we will win. I'm just saying it might be a difference.
I still think Liverpool would have still won it anyway, even if Moura played. That's just my opinion.
Well, you were playing Barcelona as well, for God's sake.
Exactly, yeah, when they had Prem Ronaldinho.
Teams out there.
And then,
but we was also playing Liverpool when they was also pretty much one of the best, the best team in Europe.
And the only chance to win the Europa League, they lost against Galatasaray.
And Chelsea 4-1. And
In Galatasaray too.
And then you was also 2-0 up against Chelsea and got flanked 4-2, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4-1. Thank you very much for reminding me, Dan.
Yep, just thought I'd let you know on that one. But right, people,
Thank you very much.
I'm going to end it, and I must say thanks for everyone for watching. Thanks for those who did come on. But I won't deny it, I'm a bit disappointed with the amount of people that didn't come on with the option there. I mean, if people want me to do shows like this, I will do it. But then obviously, come on, say your piece. I mean, we've even had a fucking gooner come on here and say his bit. You know, so right. Any of you two last things to say quick?
Yeah, just quickly. I don't think it was the right time to do that show because if we lost against AZ Alkmaar, then you would get a lot of people.
Can I have your score prediction for that game on Thursday night as well? What's your score prediction?
0-0 against AZ Alkmaar. Alkmaar are going into.
I personally think it. I
don't think we're going to. No.
Do you know what I can see happening? I can see us winning that 2-1 and then it going to penalties, and then I just haven't got a clue because the away goal doesn't count anymore, does it? So just a quick question, just before we go to the chat on the side, what do you think the score is going to be? Just quick, who 2, 1-0, 2-0, whatever else. I'll give it 2 minutes on that. I think we can just about scrape through this. Just. And I think we can get this. I think we could get this 3-1.
The thing is, though, with Ange's record in Europe, you do not know. That's the problem. Because it's the worst ever. That's the problem with that.
We're getting a few people here saying they think it's going to be draws. A few people here saying they think we're going to win this. It's just, I think a lot of people don't want to actually put on a score they might think because they just don't want to think of reality here because there's a good chance it's 50-50 for me. We can win this or lose this just as easily. And again, come on, people. Next time I do a show like this, come on, say a bit. And thanks to everyone for coming on. Thanks to everyone for watching. And I'll speak to you two after. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Have a good night.
Take care.